In Chapter 2, we look at record IDs and how interesting they can be. And this is just just touching on a very small part because record IDs are really, really interesting. They're a long subject. But the first interesting thing to know is that you can use complex characters. So if you, there we go, load this. The way you do that is you use these backticks, and that will let you, create a record ID that has complex characters. And if you don't have that, then the parser is going to get confused and say, I don't understand this token. So what you do is put these backticks there, and it will tell it to basically create a string out of whatever it finds inside. So that means you can use Unicode, you can do whatever you want. You can even put in emojis and even hieroglyphs. So you can see you can make an artist called Bruce Dickinson with these finger or these hand finger pointing emojis. There we have a Egyptian falcon. There we have another Egyptian word. And in the book, by the way, it says bonus points if you can read the last record. And since this is a video, I'm just going to give you the bonus points here. So this is Memphis, which is the first Egyptian capital, and it's Men-Nefer. And you can see, there you go, MN, that's the first part, and then NFR, and then at the end it has these two characters to show that this is a place and that it's got a pyramid in it. And together it means enduring and beautiful. So there is some hieroglyphs for you. And then the next part is how record IDs are stored. And this is just a small thing that you might find interesting. Oh, and by the way, these complex characters are enclosed. This is kind of like for the parser's benefit, I think. So you can use backticks, or if you have these on your keyboard, you can actually use these. These are mathematical angle braces, I think they're called. And but usually you won't have them, so you'll just use backtick, but they will show up like this in the output. And then you know that it's definitely a string. And so this one, here's one more interesting thing to round out the video, which is a small quiz. So you can see SurrealDB will default to an integer if it can. And so we have these two numbers here, and you can see one of them is showing up as a regular integer ID, and then the other one for some reason shows up as a string. And the reason why is because these are U64s, they're unsigned 64-bit numbers, and you can see if we go to this Rust code here for a second, you have I64 max, and you can see the largest possible number is this big one that ends with 807. And you can see if you go one more, then it's not able to store it as a 64-bit integer anymore, and the only possibility left is to make it into a string. So that's why you'll see that. And you'll see that the same for any negative number that is lower than the lowest possible negative integer that can be stored. And then the last one that's interesting is this one thing here. So if you have create person 5 and then create person 00005, then it's going to say this already exists because it's treating this as an integer. So if you actually want this to be a different record, then you want to, let's just delete the person first. Delete person, so that it will actually work this time. So you can see it will work because now you have a person 5 and then a person 0005, which is actually a string and not an integer.